Hello and welcome to Bedroom Studio Corner. I am XD and today I have 10 great tips for you for FL Studio that will help you in your production, and it will make you get your ideas from your head into FL Studio in the quickest amount of time, and will help your workflow be much more greater, much more fluent in FL Studio. Let's check them out. Now, the first tip that I want to share with you is the hint panel. Now, the hint panel is found on this corner here. You can see it says hint panel over here. So what it does, it can show you shortcuts. Like you see, if I scroll through a button over here, you can see it will be showing you shortcuts of how to open menus. And if anything, any button is right clickable or left clickable. So it shows you with that mouse icon and a button click, so you can right click on it and do stuff. And my next tip is the autosave feature. Everyone knows that if you want to save, it's Control S. Besides this, you can also have FL Studio autosave for you without you having to save. You know, sometimes you get caught up in making a track. The autosave feature is a very helpful thing. I always use it all the time. Now, if you go to settings, to options, and you go to file settings, you see here autosave is right here on backup. You can put it on rarely, every 15 minutes, occasionally every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, or frequently every 5 minutes, and before risky operations. Now, this is the one I usually would recommend in case you're going to be opening a lot of VSTs and a lot of other sounds and doing big things that are going to shake up your system a bit. So the frequently is a good one, every 5 minutes and before risky operations, so you always have a backup of your file. Now, another great tip is for when you're making your music and you have a channel selected here. Now, if you want to send that channel to the mixer, all you just have to do is press Control L, and then it automatically sends that channel to the mixer for you. That is simple. And you can also do this if you have multiple samples or multiple tracks selected, and you can send all of them straight to the mixer. And another great tip for the mixer is that you can be able to select multiple tracks at the same time. Wow, that is a very important one, because I know a lot of people are stuck on just selecting just one track like that. But if you press Control and Shift and then drag on the tracks, it will actually select multiple tracks. Or if you just hold and click on another one, it can actually select multiple tracks. Now, this is helpful if you're going to be mixing and you want to group your tracks. You can do this. Very useful tip, especially when mixing. Helped me a lot. It will help you too. And another tip on the mixer is the save state as. Now, what you can do when you're in a track, let's say you've mixed your track and you added some great sounds and you've edited your track very nicely in mixing. If you want to save that as a preset, you can actually right click on here and go on File and Save Mixer Track State As, and it will save the mixer state, and you can use that if you want the same processing that you put on that track for another track that you're going to be making as well. So that is also a great tip and a great feature in FL Studio. Now, another feature that I love about FL Studio is that you can automate anything on any VST. Take for instance, if I load Nexus. Now, with native FL Studio plugins, you can just right click on any knob and you will get a menu, and you can create an automation very easy. But now with external VSTs, you cannot do that. But the way you can do this is by clicking on any control. Let's say I want to automate this envelope over here, for instance. What I can do is I can click on it once, and I can go on this little drop down arrow, and I can go on browse parameters, and over here to the left side you will see it's selected over here. Then you can right click on it and say create automation clip, and then it's going to create the automation clip right here, and there it is in the playlist. So that's also a great tip if you want to automate stuff in external VSTs in FL Studio. Great tip, helps a lot. Another tip is when it comes to samples, like let me load up a kick over here. Some samples come with a tail on them, and this tail is usually a problem when you're trying to render out your songs. Now, if you don't know how long this tail is, now when you're trying to render your track, you will see that sometimes it will take ages just to render a simple track. That is because one of your samples has this long stretch of time that it doesn't need over here. So what you can do is you can actually trim that to help you save CPU. Now, you don't hear this when you're playing back your song, but this affects your render time, and it just makes things take a lot longer to render when you finish with your track and you're eager to listen to it. So what you can do is you can go over here on trim, and you can do that. And as you can see, it trimmed out all that silence at the end of the sample. And another thing, when you come here to the channel rack, if you want to make your steps much more interesting in the step sequencer, what you can actually do is play around with the swing just to get a different sound into them, just to get a different groove into your swing, you know, just to add a little bit of delay without having to go inside the piano roll and have to slightly move them. You can create a whole new groove just by moving the slider over here. So that's another great tip for you. And another great tip is, let's say you made your track and you have a lot of samples stacked on the side, and now you want to change sounds. You can locate your sample back and trace it back to the folder it was. If you go right here on file, you see where the file says file pick here, then you can click on this locate sample in browser button. If you click there, it's gonna locate exactly where it is. Like for instance, if I close here, click there, it's gonna open exactly where it is, so you can be able to replace your sample easy. Now another great tip for you, and this is my last tip, is using the pre-computed effects in FL Studio. Now you'll find these on your channel settings, and these will be over here. Now what you need is you need to click on this little icon over here, and you will see these. There's the boost, there's a clip, there's EQ, and a lot of stuff you can do here. Now you can use these to be able to manipulate your sound before adding any other effects to it in the mixer. You have a boost here to boost your sound and make it loud, but be careful because you're going to be clipping. So what you want to do is you want to turn on clip so that you're not clipping so hard. So if I play it back and without the boost, it sounds very soft. Let's say you want it to be, you know, much more pumpy and much more harder. You can raise the boost. Remember, clip must stay on because that's going to be too loud. Put clip on, it's going to clip it for you. And you can boost this as much as you want. And you can also play with the pogo. To give it more attack and make it more attacky and make it more nice to listen to. And you also have an EQ here for EQing, and just you can manipulate your sound much further without having to add a lot of other VSTs to your sound. So that's it, guys. That's it for the tips I have for you today. And if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. I have content like this all the time. I at least upload a video every week. And if you like these tips, please leave a like down below. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. I'm X and I'm out.